everybody, I'm Becki Adams. Thank you for stopping by the Scrapbook and Cards Today YouTube channel, and happy International Scrapbook Day. This is one of my favorite days of the year. I love celebrating this fabulous hobby of scrapbooking. So today we are going to make a 12 by 12 scrapbook page using the Happy Travels collection from Simple Stories. And I'm just flipping through this collection showing you a few of the pieces in it and some of the pattern papers. This is such a fun, bright, happy collection and perfect for all of your travels. Whether you want to make an album or a layout or cards, these products are so fun to work with. So today there are a couple of things that inspired me to create this layout. One, of course, I was so excited to work with this fun collection. Two, I pulled out a template that it's one of my favorites. I use it often, but I haven't used it for quite a while. It is page template design number 3 from Simple Stories. And it has a spot for 6 3x4 photos or cards, journaling, whatever you want to fit into those 6 3x4 spots. And what inspired this layout was I've seen recently on social media, there's a trend going where you post 6 photos of things but not people. So like faceless photos essentially. And that's what I decided to do with this layout. I have lots of photos, of me and lots of people in photos, but this time I wanted to kind of challenge myself and tell a story without people in the photos. So I have 3 photos that I'm working with, and as you can see, I laid the template out on a piece of white cardstock, and then I'm adhering my photos and those 3x4 cards right to that white cardstock. So I taped my template in place just using some repositionable tape. This is mint tape from scrapbook.com. And then I'm going ahead and adhering my 3x4 cards and photos in each of these slots with some tape runner adhesive that is also from scrapbook.com. And as I mentioned earlier, I have 3 photos that I'm working with. So one there in the top center that I'm just placing, making sure that everything's adhered without getting fingerprints on my photo. And then a 3x4 card next. So there's 2 3x4 cards on the top row and then 1 3x4 card on the bottom row, and I just kind of staggered them so that they were spread across the page evenly. So the story I want to tell on this layout is about a recent trip that I went on to Canada for the SCT Markham event. And typically when I travel, I just wear a pair of earbuds and listen to audiobooks or music. Recently, I've really enjoyed picking up an actual paper book and reading it and just putting my phone away. And so I packed 2 books on this trip, and I read almost all of both of those books while I was traveling. So now that I have all of my pieces in place, I removed that tape and the template, and I'm just making sure everything is adhered really well to that white cardstock. I like the white cardstock kind of as the background on these photos and journaling cards because it really makes the photos and the journaling cards pop against this. These are pattern papers. They look they're more of a B pattern, a tone on tone pattern. But I really wanted my photos to pop off of the back of the colorful background. So I'm taking another piece of pattern paper that I cut just slightly larger than the white cardstock so that I could kind of set that apart from the dark blue background. So again, just making sure everything's adhered, and then I'm using my T-square ruler to place this one big block that will house all my photos, title, journaling, and most of my embellishments right here on that. And I just want to make sure that I have the placement just right. And it takes me just a minute. I have a hard time deciding. I want it to be a little bit off center because I'm going to put my title and a little bit of embellishment toward the bottom of the page. So that's why there's a little bit more space at the bottom. Again, I'm just flipping that page over and pressing everything down so it is nice and adhered. So the title for this layout is just Traveler. And this is a foam sticker from the Happy Travels collection. And I'm going to take some of my favorite foam squares from Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. You definitely don't have to use extra adhesive on these foam stickers. They adhere really, really well. In fact, if you set it down, make sure you know exactly where you want it to go because it will be there forever. And because it sticks really well, I wanted to give myself a little bit of time to move that around and make sure I had the placement right. That's why I'm adding the foam squares. The other reason that I'm adding foam squares is, and this is just total personal preference, but it's up to you. I don't like to stick stickers or embellishments directly to my photos. And so you'll see here in just a second, after I have all of these foam squares placed, that I'm only going to remove the backing from the ones that I put toward the bottom of the sticker. The ones kind of up at the top, I didn't remove the backing. So I still get the lift from those stickers, but they will not stick. That sticker will not stick to my photos. Hopefully that makes sense. So now that I have my photos and my title in place, I am going to make a spot for my journaling. Those 3 elements are the most important elements on my layouts, and I want to make sure that I have room for all of those elements before I start embellishing. So I'm taking a tag from the Tag Elements pattern paper in the Happy Travels collection, and I just fussy cut that one tag out using my hole punch from We Are Makers and punching a hole in that tag, and then it's going to just layer right on top of that green 3x4 cut apart card. I should mention the 3x4 cut apart cards are all from the 3x4 Elements paper in the Happy Travels collection. And then initially I thought about layering those 2 tags together, and I decided that you just didn't see quite enough of the orange tag to make the layers work right. And so I decided to just put that yellow striped topped tag, and I'm going to add a little bit of embellishment and a little bit of journaling to that tag. But before I do that, I want to tie a bow with some white crochet twine here at the top. And I'm just going to fold that crochet thread in half and pull 2 threads through the hole and then loop it back through that loop. If you need to reverse this video and go back and look and see how I did that, you can. But this makes sure that your tag, the bow on your tag lays nice and horizontally across the top of the tag versus kind of it turning to go vertically. So it takes me just a second to play with that crochet thread and then trim off the excess. I got a little bit too much here, so I'm just going to use a pair of sharp scissors to trim that excess crochet thread off. So I have a place for my journaling, and I have my title in place, and I have my photo in place. So I'm going to move on to some embellishing. And I've pulled a few embellishments from the Happy Travels collection to use on this layout. And one of them, as you saw earlier, was this tag. And I wanted to use it, but the whole thing wasn't working very well on the layout. I didn't have a ton of space for it. So I ended up just tearing the top of that tag off, and I will save it for another project. But for right now, I'm going to use the bottom of that tag. And I placed it just there at the bottom of the journaling tag until I can decide exactly what I want to do with it. So while I'm deciding on how I want to that portion of the layout to look, I'm moving on to embellishing other areas of the layout. So I found this cute globe stamp die cut, and essentially all I did there was create a little bit of dimension. It's the same die cut, about the same size. I just added some foam adhesive because I wanted there to be a little bit of dimension on that tag. The cute travelogue kind of clip there goes at the top of the yellow tag. And again, I put a little piece of foam on that, but didn't remove the backing, just adhered that in the bottom so that it's not stuck to my photo. Now I'm going to go back over to the embellishment cluster that's below the tag, and I just adhered that torn tag, and then I'm using some foam adhesive to adhere a chipboard piece and a cute little yellow geotag that has a teal heart there at the top. And for right now, that's how I'm going to leave that. I will come back and work on that embellishment cluster here in a little bit, but I'm moving through the layout. So I have my main embellishments in place, and there are 2 or 3 things that I reach for when I'm just finishing up a layout to see if there are any other little bits and pieces that I want to add. And one of those things is the 12 by 12 sticker sheet that comes in the collection kits with all of Simple Stories full collections. So I took just a few pieces, a few little stickers that I am placing here and there across the layout. And I love this scallop border strip. And I wanted to add just a little bit more color to that background. So I'm taking that border strip and I cut it down just a little bit so that it will fit nicely in that section underneath my title and that orange paper. And then I'm just carefully tucking it under that orange pattern paper and placing it just there at the bottom. It takes me just a minute to get everything, tucked in and placed exactly where I want it. So with that in place, I'm going back to my sticker sheet to look for a few other little bits and pieces. I am still keeping my eye out for something to go there on that journaling tag that I've been working on. And I just am scanning through the sticker sheet. Ultimately, I add some of those little word strips, but you'll see that in just a minute. I thought about adding an arrow there, but there really wasn't anything that I wanted to point to. So it just takes a few minutes. You guys know how it is when you're trying to finish those last little bits of a layout. So here's where I finally decide that I do want those strips, those sticker word strips, and I'm just tucking those within the embellishments. That blue one says Wanderlust, the yellow one says Adventure, and then the green one says Just Go. And they fit perfectly and are the perfect embellishments to finish up that little embellishment cluster. And then above the embellishment cluster is where I'll put my journaling. There isn't a huge story for this layout, so I'm just going to type up my journaling and cut it out and place it there on the top portion of that tag. So as I mentioned earlier, there are a few embellishments that I reach for when I'm finishing up a project. One is the 12 by 12 sticker sheet. The second thing is the adhesive or decorative brads. And these are so much fun, and I kind of have, my favorite places that I like to add them. And one is on the lenses of cameras, and then I also like to add them at the top of tags. They're perfect to just cover up that little hole, and they stick in place perfectly. So I knew for sure that that's where I wanted to add a couple of brads, And then I'm just looking through to see if there's anything else that I want to add from the decorative brads. And I decided to add that one chipboard piece that says, once a year, go someplace you've never been before. And I thought that was a perfect kind of sentiment to wrap up this layout, because I was visiting Canada for the first time when I was traveling for the story that I'm telling. And last but not least, almost always the last embellishment that I reach for is enamel dots. And I think they are just the absolute perfect finishing touch. They add just a little bit of dimension, a little bit of shine, and are so cute to finish out a project. So I'm just adding a few of those that you'll be able to see a little bit better in the close-ups where those land, but I like to put them, like in the center of flowers. I like to do some tone on tone embellishing, so I put some yellow enamel dots there in with the yellow journaling card, and then some green on green there by my journaling embellishment cluster. And with that, friends, this layout is finished. You guys, if you want to put together layouts quickly and easily, this is the way to do it. From start to finish, this layout took a half an hour or less. It is so easy to work with those Simple Stories templates and Simple Stories products. It will make your scrapbooking go so fast and so easy. I hope that you will check out the Happy Travels collection from Simple Stories. I also hope that you will stick around here to the Scrapbook and Cards Today blog and YouTube channel so that you will be able to see all of the fun projects that the design team has to share with you. I'm kicking things off, but there's so many more fun things to come. So thank you again for stopping by. I hope you have a wonderful National Scrapbook Day, and I will see you again soon.